Welcome back to season 5 of Seen and Heard podcast. And I'm joined today with Miss Kenniss Henry, and we are Seen and Heard podcast.
Greetings.
One, two, three, four.
Kenniss, again, yay, I missed you, Miss Kenniss. How have you been?
Oh, busy, but peace and positive vibrations to everyone out there for 2026.
And happy Tet, happy Lunar New Year to everyone who celebrates. Happy Black History Month. And we're going to have that like 365 days anyway. So,
Of course.
yeah, speaking of Black History Month, I wanted to play this video and then get your reaction on the other side.
Sure.
I'll put my cards on the table. I'm against fascists and MAGA and Donald Trump, and I want Democrats to win, but I want the right Democrats to win. And I remember the YouGov poll that came out after the 2024 election said the main reason why Democrats stayed at home was their displeasure with the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And what we've seen is AIPAC. AIPAC now has spent $2 million attacking a moderate-leaning Democrat, Tom Malinowski, a Democrat, in the special House election in New Jersey 11th District. We got a progressive Latina, Representative Mejia. My question for you, if you're looking for accountability, if you're looking for change, shouldn't Democrats stop taking money from AIPAC that has spent so much money against Democrats?
Well, listen, everyone's going to have to make their individual decision. My view as it relates to Democratic incumbents, first of all, is that I will continue to stand by every single one of them, whether that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the one hand, or the most conservative, moderate Democrat on the other, who's sitting in the Trump district and at all points in between, right? That's what I'm going to do as House Democratic leader. Now, in terms of how people individually fundraise, I'm proud of the fact that my average contribution amongst the millions of dollars that I've been working hard to raise for my own reelection that I use to help elect Democrats in other parts of the country is $27 per contributor. That's my average contribution. That's probably the lowest in the Congress. And so now everyone is going to raise money from their own constituents in different ways, and their own constituents are going to have a variety of different perspectives on a variety of different issues. But make no mistake, there's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans, and we're seeing that right now. I know some people like to project otherwise. How one can see the horrors of what has been inflicted on the American people since January 20th of last year and conclude otherwise, or want to try to suggest that there's no difference in one's quality of life. When I go to Bedford-Stuyvesant or Brownsville or East New York or Canarsie or the West End of Coney Island, people know that their life is being made markedly worse because of who's in office right now, both in the White House and the House.
Well, Representative, respectfully,
and we're determined to do something about that.
Just a quick follow-up. So that means, will you stop taking money from AIPAC?
I'm going to continue to raise money in the same way that I've been raising it, where the average contribution from millions of people across the country is $27 per contributor.
We are out of time. I had,
He never answered the question. And there was actually a longer exchange of that. That was like the shortest one I could find, but really defensive because I actually watched it live when they went live with him, and he got super defensive and he would not disavow taking money from AIPAC, or he just went around and just would not answer the question. What are your thoughts?
Well, now, when you're guilty, you're guilty. And that's all there is to it. Now, that man know, last time I checked, he had accepted $1.5 million from AIPAC. He's not alone. Cory Booker has accepted, last time I looked, $900,000 from AIPAC. And I'm going to jump back to Hakeem Jeffries. Did he not vote in favor of every piece of legislation that came to the House to support what was going on in Palestine and Gaza. So you a brown brother or a black brother, whichever one you want to be, and you would actually vote against your brown brothers and your black brothers and stand up with the terrorists, the warmongers, the individuals who continue to perpetuate crimes against humanity. No, he didn't answer it, and he is not going to answer it. And I don't know where he got that $27 per contributor from. Ain't nobody giving him no $27 towards his war campaign, because he could never run and be reelected. And as far as AIPAC is concerned and their allies and peers, on the 2024 election, just in one segment, they spent $57 billion to guarantee the Republican that would win the House, the Senate, and 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And that was just on the Republican side. So then they come and they spend money on the Democratic side, so that there's this contention back and forth. You got the AIPAC in the middle, they're issuing out massive amounts of money over on this side, and they're sending some dribs and drabs over here. And we are unfortunately afraid to stand on our own merits. If Hakeem Jeffries can stand on his merits and lead the people will continue to vote for him. Look at Adam Clayton Powell. This is an example. I'm not saying he did or he didn't, who he got money from. I'm just saying, the brother, whenever he rolled around in New York, everybody knew who he was. Or let me talk about one in DC. Marion Barry. Euro Americans despise that man. They absolutely did everything. May he rest in peace. They did everything they could possibly do to bring him down. And he wasn't taking anything from anybody. He was winning because he did what he needed to do to say, I got the backs of the people. And Hakeem Jeffries cannot say that. He cannot say that, because look at all the times he stood and said, there's nothing we can do. We just can't do anything. Our hands are tied. And then all of a sudden you're going to talk about what you're doing and who you giving money to. He never answered the question, and he is not going to answer the question. And the people in whatever platform that is, they should call him out and say, you did not answer the question, Congressman Jeffries. And we demand an answer.
They actually did. And it was actually, that's the only way I could continue to watch it. Because usually just like my nerves just the politicking language, that Jeffrey uses, and then his little hand movements trying to distract from the question that he's not answering. That's going to, distract people from him not answering the question. But they did actually try to hold his feet to the fire, and he still refused to answer the question. It was Joy Ann Reid and Wajat Ali, I believe that's his name. I'm sorry if I got his name wrong. It was Wajat Ali. And it was on Joy Ann Reid. So if anybody wants to see the full exchange, go to Substack or YouTube, and Wajat and Joy Reid, they both have podcasts on YouTube that you can see the full exchange. So and continuing with Black History Month, last month the Trump regime tried to have a display in Philadelphia torn down. So they have the judge overturned the order, and they are ordering them to restore the slavery exhibit that they removed in Philadelphia. Because I saw the videos, it was heartbreaking. But they have just past week, let's see, a judge just ruled on President's Day, the federal holiday honoring Washington's legacy, that display should be put back up. The removal came in response to a Trump executive order restoring truth and sanity to America, according to him, his regime. So U.S. District Judge Cynthia Ruffey ruled Monday that all materials must be stored in their original condition, while a lawsuit challenging the removal's legality plays out. So they have to, I'll post the link in the description so you guys can read the full article, but that is going to be restored.
Okay.
Now, what do you know about Essence Fest? Have you ever been
Well,
to Essence Fest?
no, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Essence get sold out to some Euro American types?
They
And last
are,
year, didn't they have some confrontational activities there last year?
yes.
Well, that's about all I know.
Okay,
I live
so
under a rock.
no, I mean, because for 30 plus years, they had Essence Fest honoring Black American, culture. So, like you said, they sold it to some Africans actually that came in, and I've been watching the discourse between the Black community talking about their feelings, which they have every right to say how they're being treated, because last year, even Black businesses, the Black American businesses around the event, they were not to make any money like they usually do because of the African takeover. So now they have unpaid uh, uh, 456K from last year's event. Now the feeling around this is from the Black community is, the Africans that took over it, they are not honoring Black Americans in the way that, not knowing that they wouldn't be allowed over here if it wasn't for the sacrifice of Black Americans of the civil rights movement. Yet they come over here and try to erase. That's the sentiment in the Black community, is that they are trying to erase Black Americans out of their culture. So yeah, so this year they're not going to make it, Essence Fest is not going to come back like it did. Let's see. I'm going to see if this is a video. Let's see. I thought it was a video on here, but let's see. Essence Festival. Okay, this
Was it 40 something years, 50 years, however many long years? Let me tell you something.
Okay, so that wasn't the right video, but anyway, yeah. So they're having trouble making payments. So it's not gonna.
So why are they having trouble making payments?
Who knows? Who knows? According to, let me see. I read the article, but I don't think it really labeled. Let's see here. For venue costs, beyond the venue costs, a separate source familiar with the situation alleged that more than $1 million is also owed to a local production company. So it looks like they're mismanaging the money that's coming in. And then on top of that, they're asking the city of New Orleans to give them more funding to put on the festival
Who's
again,
asking?
which the
Who's
people that
asking?
own the fest now, the Essence Fest now, they're asking the city to give them more funding, and they, no, we're not going to give you any more money. No.
Well, now that is something that I can see in several different ways. First of all, you don't know who's behind the faces. Just because they're Black and they came from Africa, you have no idea who's behind the faces. And the more I turn over rocks and pebbles and boulders and stones, I'm seeing who is actually behind the faces. And the forces behind the faces don't look like me. So they give me some money, and then I roll on over here and create all kinds of havoc and confusion and kill something that has been very productive, producing monies, but it's also been something that people have looked forward to for decades. It's something that, it's like a rite of passage. You got to go to Essence Fest.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, in one fell swoop, it looks like it may be gone. That to me reeks of, I hate to say it, COINTELPRO. Somebody is back there giving these guys money and telling them, this is what you have to do. They're calling the plays. Go and shut the thing down and create havoc and confusion and make sure that they can't do it in 2026, because if there's outstanding fees that have to be paid. Why would I, on good faith, say, okay, we're going to do Essence Fest 2026, even though we owed $500,000, $1 million, whatever. And the other thing I'm going to say, which is really ugly, they have been colonized for years and years and years and years. And they know we still colonized over here. So they come over here and see how much game they can run on us, because we still, we still looking for freedom, and, how we going to dismantle racism, and how we going to get rid of segregation and all these other things. So they can come over here. They probably have developed the skill for running game. I have never been to Essence Fest, and it looks like I will not be going to Essence Fest. I understand it's like massive, massive numbers of people, and I don't do well with that big a crowd anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just think it's
And
a
my
shame,
thing,
because
it is.
the legacy, once again, we're sunsetting possibly another historical legacy that belongs to us. And that's the part. I mean, we sold Essence magazine, we sold Jet magazine. We've done all these things that hey, how about this one? We sold Famous Amos cookies, name, pictures, everything. They still using dudes' pictures and everything, but hostile takeover, I understand. At any rate, Famous Amos no longer has Famous Amos cookies. Carol's daughters sold Carol's daughters hair products. So we sell a lot of things off, killing our own historical legacies, and the things we don't sell off. Often, somebody sitting somewhere pushing buttons says, "Okay, got a job for y'all." Yes, sir, Mr. Man. So anyway,
Yeah, so like you said, it's a double-edged sword, because if we did not sell it, then we could, hold on to that. So that's sad, because like I grew up, I was telling someone today how I grew up with Essence, because it was one of the few magazines that propped up Black beauty, Black culture, not in a negative way, not like the propaganda that they show on TV, that we had educators and models and real mothers, and just the positive. That's what I grew up with Essence. And like you said, I won't purchase Essence magazine, because it's like I've looked at the online magazine, and the Black culture is gone. I mean, there's like Black faces there, but the Black culture, Black American culture, is gone. So that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, that's heartbreaking. The sale of Jet magazine. I used to love that little magazine. That's
Jet.
gone. And I don't know,
Yep.
whatever happened to Ebony? Is that still around?
Ebony was also, I think, sold and dismantled, kind of, so
Mm-hmm.
someone like that Edward Bloom, that brought the lawsuit against the Fearless Fund to shut the Fearless Fund down, so Black women weren't able to get the 1% of venture capital that they needed to open up businesses. Somebody like that, like you said, is behind buying up all of these businesses and killing them, or just running them into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because like a lot of
Definitely
those
so.
hair companies, the new owners, they're of course not Black. They changed the chemicals that
Mm-hmm.
worked for Black hair. They changed all the
Mm-hmm.
chemicals.
That's right. And Carol, everybody knew about Carol's daughters,
Hmm.
and we all bought those products.
Yep.
And then it got sold, and the people who's selling it now, like you, I won't give them my money, because it's not the
Yep.
real Carol's daughters.
And on that, so as everybody can see on the little ticker there at the bottom, I put like little trending news headlines on there. The U.S. jobs report was not, of course, we can't believe anything that the regime says about the numbers. So we won't go into too much detail, but I'll just show this headline here. Um, And I'll have the link in the description so you guys can read the full article. And this is for 2025, far fewer than 1.46 million that were added in 2024. So there was, not many jobs added. So that's embarrassing for him.
So just observation. For the entire year, if it's true, it's the Bureau of Labor Statistics and something. And I kind of will trust them a little bit. 181,000 jobs was all the jobs that were added last year, or is that the delta between the jobs that were lost and the jobs that were added?
It says,
as an example, dude fired 300,000 people in one fell swoop last year.
Mm-hmm.
So did he add 481,000 jobs to cover the fact that he fired 300,000 people in one fell swoop? And we had what's that name? Amazon who let people go. The US, what is it? UPS fired, let people go. All these companies that let people go. So is it that that's private industry not factored into that 181,000, or how is that working? Because you got to be able to, if you want to. In grad school, I had this amazing class called How to Lie with Statistics. It was the best class I ever had in my life, and they showed you how to finagle numbers. So to say he added 300,000 Black women in 3 months. So where does that fit into the 181,000 jobs that got added? Is it 481,000 jobs that were added to cover the fact that 300,000 Black women in one fell swoop lost their jobs? And dude talking right now about letting 50,000 more go.
We'll get into that. You have to help me get those numbers, crunch those numbers for our next show. So we'll do an update on that because it's important for us to talk about this, especially now. And yeah, so I couldn't tell you because how they are so back and forth with their like the polling or I just don't know. I don't really trust them and what's coming out of departments, considering who they fired. That's just me.
True.
But I trust you and your numbers.
No, I'm saying we know sure he let 300,000 Black women go in one fell swoop. He didn't do it, a bit at the time. One fell swoop, he said, y'all got to go. So now we're saying he added 181,000 jobs, which is nothing, really. But is it 481,000 jobs to cover the 300,000 that were lost in one fell swoop? Or is it just an abysmal 181,000 jobs, which we need to subtract from 300,000 jobs so that we then say we still have a delta of 119,000 jobs that he did not cover with the little paltry 181,000 jobs?
And I'm thinking what you brought up about the Amazon numbers where they let all those people go with Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And allegedly, the reason Amazon let everybody go is because AI swooped in a very big way, and now they don't need those people any longer because they got robots running up and down the halls, fighting each other and knocking each other down and getting back up and crazy stuff. Picking items off the shelf and going down and have another robot put them in a box, and then another robot put some tape on it and stuff. And this is something that I think your listening audience should be very keenly aware of. How long before there is massive unemployment in this country? Because Silicon Valley is pumping billions and billions of dollars into AI industries and AI technology. So there has to be a reason why Silicon Valley is putting so much money into AI technology. And if Amazon is getting rid of 16,000 over here, 30,000 over there, UPS is getting rid of 25,000 or whatever the number is, high number, then how long before there is not going to be anybody who has a job? And what will that do for the state of this country? And is that DJ 47? Please don't make me say that man's name before DJ 47 totally destroys this country.
And speaking of AI, this was a recent article about a Microsoft insider, and he's actually putting out a warning. I will put this article in this link in the description as well. But AI boss says AI can replace every white collar job in 18 months. We're going to have a human level performance on most, if not all, professional tasks. So that was a few days ago, but this is a warning article, and I'll have the link for you guys to read that too. So, and that's like, let's see, replace most white collar work in 12 to 18 months. Yeah, that's they are really pushing this because, and my thing is, so they push all these people out. They don't have jobs. They won't have money to buy anything. So what do they plan to do with everybody?
Well, to me, that's a no-brainer. But then I'm a cynic. So in 18 months, DJ 47 will still be in the White House. Yeah, he'll be still in the White House. DJ 47 has made it very plain. His goal is to make this country white again. So, what do you think is going to happen? Those people who don't have jobs and no source of income, which is probably going to be all of us, we're going to be in concentration camps. We're going to be mass incarcerated to free labor for the 1%ers in his inner circle so that they don't have to pay out a dime for them to do, because there's some things that still have to be done by human beings. AI technology is not going to be able to do everything. So the things that still have to be done by human beings, boots on the ground, AI technology cannot put their foot on the ground. So those things that still have to be done where you have to have boots on the ground, then, they'll have us in jail, free labor, and we are going to be, you think people were sad and couldn't get out of their beds when Madam Vice President lost the election? You wait and see what's going to happen in the next 18 to 24 months, because he'll still be in office. 12 months now, that's the end of his second year. And then 6 months after that, next year, he'll still be in office. And if he's not in office, that other creep, DJ 47.1, is just as bad, if not worse, because he is, oh my God, I don't know how that woman is still married to him and getting ready to give him baby number
And
4.
pregnant.
I said getting ready to give him baby number 4. I don't know how she's doing it. I don't know how she's doing it. God bless her. And I'm gonna pray for her every day. So he's just as bad. He's just as bad. And then if it's not him, then DJ 47.2, he out there waiting for his turn. And that's the dude from down in Florida who has Cuban roots. He got his fingers crossed. He praying for something big too. So
Well,
we don't stand a prayer of a chance, and we can't really go anywhere because DJ 47 done upset everybody around the world. Canada says if you're over 45, do not even think about migrating up north, and you got to be under 45, come with some skill sets and some other things. So you can't run off to Canada. Where can you go? And at the rate that he's going, and the disrespect that he's rendering to the countries on the continent, the Sahel region can't take us all. Mexico don't want us, so where are we gonna go? We have no place to run and no place to hide.
Yep.
Now,
And the
Donna,
ones that have, they are being recalled back because their passports are being canceled in mid-trip. There's some people. There's a guy that went to Thailand and his passport was supposedly reported stolen. He had to come back to the United States, and he was white.
or hey, that or here's a thought: you're gonna jump, jump ship, and you get past international flights in New York as an example, and you get to say Geneva as an example, and the orders there are not to let you into their country. So now you think you're going to turn around and come back here, and when you get back here, the orders are not to let you back in here. What you going to do? Because now you're a sister without a country. What you going to do? And those are the kinds of games we have to be keenly sensitive to. We might say, no, they would never do that. But I don't put anything above them because that's just how low down they are. They don't, and I'm saying days because I don't want somebody to come and knock on my door. They're probably gonna knock on it anyway. But those are the things we have to be keenly aware of. I leave going to Switzerland because Geneva, because they said we will embrace you, come. And I get there and some sanctions have been imposed or whatever the case. So now I can't even get in there in the little bit of time since I got on the plane in New York. So I'm like, well, what shall I do? Well, ma'am, that's not our problem. You have a round trip ticket. Maybe you should use your round trip ticket. I get back to New York and I can't get back into this country. What am I supposed to do? So we got a lot of what ifs or else then, and I don't see a lot of ways out of some of these things. Me, I love to travel. I ain't leaving this country. I'm scared to death.
I mean, I was just worried about flying across the country, because the check-ins. Not that I had any reason to, but just because. I mean, who's to say? Just like you said, if somebody is having a bad day and I just want to person aside and try to give them a hard time, just and then they have the backing of this regime to be able to just make your life, hard.
Exactly. Not just the backing, but the directive to make your life hard. You will do this to this one, and this one. And there are instructions on if you're traveling, what you need to do. You need to have a copy of your passport. Don't just have the passport and no copy. If they take your passport and they don't give it back to you, you got a copy of the passport. All these things. Make sure you have a copy of your driver's license, because if they take your driver's license, your birth certificate, make sure you have a spare copy of your birth certificate. All of these things, because this man, and I used to think it was that he had such disrespect for the Obamas. It's not that he has disrespect for the Obamas. The dude don't like nobody who is of color. So again, I'm trying to figure out how this sister, second lady, how she surviving. And she up there smiling about her fourth baby. Yeah, girlfriend, I don't know how they treating you. And I ain't seen nothing where she and first lady been hanging out together.
I've been listening to women that of her nationality, and the one in particular, I can't think of her name right now. I'll have to look it up, and if anybody asks a question about it in the chat or leave us a voicemail, just remind me. But I'll look her up, and she is of the same nationality, and she calls out her people in her culture or her community. She calls them out. She's like, she's a beautiful Indian woman, like real prettier than well. And then the reason I think Usha looks so old is because of probably what she's dealing with behind the scenes. But who knows? I don't know. But this lady, she calls her out. She's like, "You're not white. You're never going to be white, regardless of who you're married to. She's like, I could just only imagine what he's saying and doing to her and those kids behind the scenes. This is a lady that is of Usha's nationality saying this.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, she ain't by herself. I think he terrorizes her behind closed doors.
mhm.
I think she catching all kinds of, as Rose Nyland would say on Golden Girls, HE hockey stick, hockey stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up that video from her. I'm gonna try to find her. And usually I put a bonus video if you guys like the full podcast here. Sometimes I put like a bonus video at the end of the podcast. So you'll have to watch the whole podcast or, I guess fast forward. But I will find her video and where she's calling out. And so you guys can see who I'm talking about. And then you guys can go follow her if you want.
Well, the question I have is, how close are they're both immigrants? No matter how you look at it, I think Asha her parents were immigrants, but she was born in this country. But they both are of derivatives from immigrant communities. The FLOTUS is an immigrant, and Asha's parents are immigrants. So there should be some common bonds there. But I have never seen any pictures of them socializing, hanging out, sharing the secret, sort of smiling or getting close and chummy. So I really would like to know if anybody knows what the relationship is between the two of them.
I imagine. I don't imagine. I'm not gonna say it because I mean it's really none of my business. But it is a curious situation to witness. It's and we have those in people like that in our communities that are just like what's her name Candace Owen. We
Don't
got
talk
people
about
like that.
don't talk about my girl Candace. She just mixed up and shook up. So don't be talking about
Okay.
Candace. Candace. And somebody sent me something yesterday where they trying to run game on Jasmine Crockett, saying about she take all her money and she go on shopping sprees and buy expensive stuff. So when they sent it to me, I was like, "Why are you sending me this?" And they were like, "Oh, well, we don't want nobody like that running for office." Wait a minute, she was an attorney before she came to the Hill. I'm going to assume, just listening to her talk, she was a good attorney. So
Mhm.
she may have come to the Hill with her own monies when she got there. And I mean, $175,000 a year, I could spend some of it and still take care of what I need to take care of. So for me, I don't be trying to take my shero away from me, because she's my shero and she want to go buy expensive shoes or because I've seen her. She don't dress expensive. I mean, she got some glitter clothes, that shiny stuff, the sateen and the silky stuff, but she does not dress like she put a lot of money in her stuff.
Right.
So I don't know where this started, but somebody sent it to me and said, see, for you
Well,
all
and
out there in the list. Go ahead.
what she's wearing have to do with how she does her job?
Nothing. Nothing. Not one thing. Not
It's
one
just
thing.
something just to nitpick. I mean, we've nitpicked into fascism. We have nitpicked ourselves, and then we didn't do our due diligence because there were a lot of Democrats or supposed Democrats that ran as Democrats, and they were really Republicans. So we didn't even do our due diligence on that. And even now, at this point, midterms are coming up. People need to do their due diligence because I'm seeing a lot of people that are supposed Democrats that are really Republicans. So,
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. So it's a double-edged sword. Here's the other side of the sword. No disrespect to anybody. Somewhere 45% of all Latinos who voted in 2024 voted for DJ 47. 55% of that group who were men voted for DJ 47. And I thought I sent it to you guys. there's this video of this Latino woman who's crying because her father is in detention or something, and he's ill. He's like
Mhm.
sick.
Mhm.
And she's crying because she needs us all together around and help her to get her father removed from detention. I think that's what it is. And she's like, I'm really sorry. I regret that I voted for Donald Trump. But that's just like purple states. The people in purple states who tell you they're blue, and then they go home and they're red. And when they get in the voting booth, they're red again. So they've gone from blue to red to purple. I hear what you're saying and I agree with you, but there are all of these double-edged swords. And
Mhm.
the midterms had me worried. They had me worried because there are the purple states, there are the diehard DJ 47 lovers, whatever he does is okay. And then you do have those folk who were diehard DJ 47 fans and they voted in great numbers. And now they're saying, we thought that he was going to only, you know, go after the bad ones because that's what he said. And now we see he doesn't differentiate between the bad ones and the good ones. So the midterms are going to be interesting.
Mhm.
That's about all I can say. They're going to be interesting.
And on that, take us out with a call to action.
So I don't have a call to action. What I'm going to do with my time is I'm going to say that I want to call attention to the fact, don't know how often it happens, but today is the beginning of Ramadan, but it's also the beginning of Lent. So at the same time, the Christians are celebrating, the Muslims are celebrating, and my question is, if anybody knows how many of the Christians are crossing over to celebrate with the Muslims, and how many of the Muslims are crossing over to celebrate with the Christians, because we got to start somewhere with this unity and this solidarity.
I
And
agree.
this is a real good way. This is a real good season to start in. And I'm gonna, as you said, rest in peace to Rainbow Coalition, Jesse Jackson, because he did do some amazing things. Last thing I'm gonna say, the one thing I remember from Jesse Jackson, I mean, he did a lot of things, but the one thing I remember, he told the story more than once about his childhood and how his mother worked for some Euro Americans. And she would go on Thanksgiving Day and the day before and cook up all this food for them because they always had big old parties and dinners, etc. And they would be home hungry, waiting for her to catch the bus with all the leftovers from those big parties to bring home so that they could have Thanksgiving dinner. And every time I heard him say that, that humbled me. I was poor too, but it just
Mm.
made me see him as a real person. And we all have our slips in the mud every once in a while, but that
Mhm.
always made me see him as a real person. Because can
Thank
you
you
just
for that.
imagine?
Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Because he
Yeah.
did leave a legacy. Left a legacy.
Hmm. He left a major legacy. And just like, Dr. Martin Luther King said, just remember me for the good I've done. And I remember him because he told that story over and over. His mama catching the bus, maybe two or three, who knows, and coming in with big old bags of stuff that she got from the Euro Americans and their lavish dinners.
And happy holidays. Happy with Lent and Ramadan to those who
Mhm.
celebrate. Leave us your comments, your questions. If you'd like to be on the show, check out our membership page and we can add you to the panel to join us on the panel. We'll start doing that this season, trying that. So become a member, go to our membership page, and then we also have donations to help keep the line, help keep us going. And because we want to keep doing this for the rest of the year, to see Miss Kenniss, and I can't wait to do the next show with you. And we will talk soon.
Peace.
I'll see you
Positive
on the next.
vibrations. Stay safe.
Bye.
It's ugly out there. Peace.
Yep.
Latinos just got their Super Bowl artist, so who is next? It's gotta be a South Asian.
Oh, no. No. And I know that's gonna hurt. I know that's gonna hurt for a lot of people, actually. And here's the thing, I, for one, would absolutely love for next year's halftime show to be a full-on Bollywood Bhangra blowout. I mean, let's be real. You know, with our choreo and our outfit changes, we would crush. But the number one reason it won't be a South Asian act, particularly an Indian act, is because we're not likable in this country. And I know you probably want to feverishly type in my comment section, but I need you to sit with that for a second. You guys love to get on here and complain that Indian hate is the only racism that's sort of universally accepted in this country. But I never really see you guys internally investigate why you think that is. Yes, there is an entire segment of the white supremacist part of the population that is stoking hatred against us as invading foreigners that financially do better than a good portion of their population. I will give you that. And the troll farms they pay for are real. But there is also a very organic component to Indian hate in this country that you guys do not like to acknowledge. The Indian hate that comes from fellow people of color. And it's because our brand in this country is built on greed, self-centeredness, and racism. And I just want you to breathe before you feverishly try to type that they are just jealous, because that reaction is part of the problem. And here's the thing, when we as a group experience racism from the right-wing white supremacists, what do we do with that? What is our reaction? Do we process it, dissect it, try to combat it? Or do we just Olympic sprint our way to proximity to whiteness? How do you think this happened? Rather than work to combat the discrimination and racism we face, we just nip at the heels of the very people stealing our shit, sterilizing it, and trying to sell it back to the broader American population, all whilst characterizing the original creators as dirty, smelly, and ugly. You guys let them have the chai tea, the naan bread, the yoga. Honestly, I don't even want the yoga back at this point after what they've done. I don't know. Maybe you guys can go reverse colonize Pilates or something, because yikes. Who do we even have holding down the fort that's fighting for us and other people of color against the discrimination that we experience, that acknowledge the racism that we experience? Mamdani, Pramila, and Roe on a good day. You know what I mean? He did defend Nazi tits up in Maine, so I'm hot and cold with the dude, but it's certainly not a full roster. That's for sure. We are what, 1.3% of the population? And I know some of you will say, but look what we've accomplished in this country, in spite of the odds. Look at our education levels. Look at our financial success. Sure, you never really try to interrogate how or why we were given the opportunity to achieve so much in this country. Why we were tokenized the way we were. I have plenty of videos on it if you're curious. But those successes are real. So what have we done with those achievements and that success? Because we don't even like holding the door open for each other. Let's be real. We certainly haven't stood up for other communities, have we? When BLM was happening and Black Americans were talking about the immense systemic oppression and discrimination they have felt in this country for centuries, did you stand by them? At the beginning of COVID, when xenophobia was running rampant, did you stand against East Asian hate? And 6 months ago, when ICE was ramping up their horrific and indiscriminate kidnappings of members of the Latinx community, did you say anything? Or worse yet, did you applaud it? That behavior doesn't make you a lot of friends. See, the thing is, it doesn't matter how cool our stuff is, and it is really fucking cool, or how beautiful our people are, if we're not likable. We will never see the representation that you so crave if we don't loudly applaud the representation of others. Oh, and being so excited to share our culture with people who appreciate it rather than appropriate it. that kind of change in reputation, that's what makes you likable. You want the NFL to root for a Bollywood halftime show? You gotta get the country to root for us first. So I'm pretty sure 2027 is out. But if you really want this, be loud on here now and support for other communities. And who knows, maybe we'll catch a break by 2034, assuming we all survive that long.